Ladies and gentlemen, it's Dusty Thunder here with one of these for you. A spicy story. And just to clarify, by spicy, no, we do not mean risque. This is not going to get into talking about penetration or anything like that, so sorry to disappoint you. Spicy means dramatic in our world. Okay. Now that we got that out of the way, title of this story from AITA is, Am I the Astronaut for Letting You Know I Am Divorcing You by Sending You a Thread on a Website That You Use to Ignore Me? Hi, Stefan. Maybe you will finally listen. And if you're wondering if you can just speed home and stop me from doing this and leaving, it's too late. I'm sending you this after I've already loaded everything in the car and left. Don't worry, I've spoken with our landlords and took my name off the lease. I've set up a direct deposit for next month's rent. After that, you're on your own, buddy. I guess you're wondering why. I'm guessing you'll act like you're completely blindsided, right? Because you've done absolutely nothing wrong and you're a great husband and father-to-be, aren't you? Well, buddy, let me break it down for you in a language you understand. I, 29 female, have been married to my husband, 35 male, for 5 years, and we've been together for nearly 10. On paper, everything seemed fine, but in reality, our marriage has been anything but. I've reached my breaking point, and I need to know if I'm the one in the wrong here. From the beginning, my mother-in-law has been a nightmare. She made everything about her from day one. At our wedding, she wore white, claiming it was a family tradition. It wasn't. She constantly criticizes me, from my cooking to my appearance. I'll never forget the time she called me fat at a family gathering right in front of everybody. And what did my husband do? Nothing. Not a single word to defend me. It didn't stop there. She has accidentally destroyed my belongings, including my grandmother's necklace, which she threw out because it looked like the cheap costume jewelry. She's gone out of her way to make me feel small and unwelcome in my own home. This bish sounds special. But every time I tried to talk to my husband about it, he'd brush it off, saying I was overreacting or being too emotional. And then there's my husband. He's always on Reddit, constantly giving strangers relationship advice, which is laughable considering how he treats me. He spends more time rating women's boobs on Reddit than talking to me, literally. And just so you know, the last pair he rated weren't a 4 out of 10, they were a 10 out of 10. Yeah, he's got plenty of time to do that, but can't be bothered to remember anything about my life. He'll forget my birthday, our anniversary, even simple things like what I'm working on or what's important to me, but he has a perfect memory for his work schedule and things that matter to him. When we fight, he becomes incredibly hostile and always throws in a sarcastic buddy at the end of his sentences, like I'm some acquaintance he can barely tolerate, and he never cleans. The house, the dishes, laundry, you name it, it's all on me. It's like he thinks being an adult is optional as long as he's got his job and his Reddit account. The final straw came a few weeks ago. I'm 5 months pregnant with our first child, a daughter. My mother-in-law started making comments about how she'll have to whip the girl into shape and how she'll raise her to be tough because I'm too soft. When I told my husband that I didn't want his mother to have too much influence on our daughter, especially with the way she treats me, he just laughed it off, saying his mother means well and that I was overthinking it. But the moment that truly broke me was when we were talking about future childcare and my husband suggested that his mother should watch our daughter while we work. I told him I wasn't comfortable with that, especially considering how his mother treats me, and he snapped. He called me paranoid, said I should get over it, because his mother was going to be a big part of our daughter's life, whether I liked it or not. This is the same woman who believes corporal punishment is okay. I've seen her hit my husband's nephew for the smallest thing, and no one does anything about it. It's like they're all living in some kind of cult, and I'm finally waking up to the reality of what's going on. If he wouldn't stand up for me, how could I expect him to stand up for our child? I started to fear what kind of environment our daughter would grow up in, a place where she might be belittled or bullied by her own grandmother, with a father who wouldn't do anything to stop it. Oh, and did I mention that he missed our first ultrasound? His mother needed him to help her with something urgent. Turned out to be fixing her Wi-Fi. Her fucking Wi-Fi. He chose that over seeing our daughter for the first time. That told me everything I needed to know about where I stand in his life. So I packed up and left. I'm done living like this. Oh, and in case you're wondering, I've already contacted a lawyer. You can't scare me into complying anymore because I have all those texts. You know exactly which ones I'm talking about. Hello, let's hear more about those. So, Stefan, I wish you all the best in your future marriage with your mother and the women of Reddit whose boobs you don't even deserve. Am I the asshole for leaving my husband after he neglected me for years, to let his mother mistreat me, and made me fear for our future daughter's safety? Tiny update. Stefan has seen the post. He is mad that apparently one of you found him based on the rate my boobs thing. He has deleted his account. For any purposes, I want to clarify that I left I left out any actual incriminating information that could lead to doxing him. Any and all people who are pretending to know me or have any incriminating information about me are lying. I am not from South Carolina. I'm not moving in with any other guy, and I'm not sleeping around. Well, holy shit, buddy. You done fucked up. And you know what? We're going to get somebody up here to talk about it. The one, the only, the spicy story expert herself, Candy Thunder.
Spicy story.
Spicy tater time.
Is rate my boobs a thing?
Apparently. And you know what? If it exists for boobs, you know it exists for like feet and all kinds of crazy crap too. What'd you say, Tony Spark?
I did not think you were going to say feet.
What did you think I was going to say? If it exists for boobs, you know it exists for
other things.
Like what?
I don't know. Did they plan to have a child? Because one, like, I think living with a mother-in-law that is this toxic, and I know that there are people in chat that that have a mother-in-law like this in their life. We do not, so I can't. It's harder for me to like even think about having this much toxicity in my life all the time, and having you not be like, he is not your partner. He's not standing up for you. He's not doing anything that makes you feel loved and cherished. And like at that point in a relationship, if there is no like mutual respect, there isn't anything that he like. What is the point of staying in a relationship if you don't get anything out of it?
Well, he's getting something out of it. That's the point, though.
What is he getting?
He's getting. Well, he doesn't clean. He doesn't do anything. So she's doing all the things. Apparently, they're at least at one point we're having sex too. So he gets all of the like the home stuff taken care of, and he has his sexual needs covered, and all he has to do is work and around on Reddit, and he's all good.
Why do people stay in relationships like this? I don't like. I would not stay in a relationship where it's clear that I am not. Like, this is what leads to people, like, a breakdown in mental health because, like, you expect something out of a relationship. You don't get that thing, and you're so, like, your needs are never met. And so you, like, self-doubt, like, insecurities form. All of these things lead to negative behavior within yourself and the other person. So staying in a relationship like this is only going to hurt someone. It's never, and it's most likely going to be yourself. So why in the do people stay in relationships like this? This makes no sense whatsoever in my mind. Like, I can't wrap my brain around something like this because she had the means to leave if she was able to like the ultrasound was her final straw. And maybe it was having a kid and knowing that that kid one day is going to be treated the way that she was treated.
Right.
That made her make that choice to leave.
We say that a lot. It's a lot easier to make a choice for your child than it is to make it for yourself. And that's finally where she was thinking ahead at the life her daughter is going to live in that environment is what did it.
Right.
That's what did it for her.
Here's a Shuri. X has
a Shuri, yeah.
He was probably amazing at the beginning, but over time changed, and she just held out for that. Like, someday he'll come back. Someday he'll be the person that I thought he was in the beginning. And I mean, but this, in my opinion, she is being abused by her husband and her mother-in-law. Like, it seems like incompetence on his part, and the mother-in-law is just taking every jab she can get. And this is a toxic life for this woman, and I feel really, really bad for her. And I'm happy that she left, but leaving is not going to be as easy now that she has a child with this man. And if this was me, I would. One, he doesn't get to be there for the pregnancy. That's her thing. And when I have this baby, I would not be putting this person on the birth certificate. He can establish paternity. Yeah.
The problem for UOP is that there's likely, unless he does something extremely negligent, likely you're going to have some kind of legal arrangement where your husband still has access to your child, right? And being able to exclude mother-in-law from that is going to take some work and some documentation. But if you have documentation, you have these text messages already, then hopefully that's enough evidence to prevent at least mother-in-law from being around. But he's going to snake. Even if it's legally stated that she cannot be around the child, he's going to allow it. So there's going to have to be some kind of way to manage that, short of you just like ghosting, like disappearing, like witness protection kind of level shit. He's going to be involved at some point here, and that's going to be really, really tough for you. Damn. Damn.